Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Elite City. I am your co-host, Blasco, along with my other co-host, Mr. Rick. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. No
Good,
complaints.
good,
Yeah,
good to hear. It's
yeah,
August.
I know. Like it falls right around the corner. I'm so happy.
Yeah, fall's
So
great. I love
happy.
it. I love it. The best season.
Um, yeah, definitely.
It's great. Starbucks, they're wonderful. They're correct. Fall is the best season.
It. I agree. Um, when do you usually get like your first snow?
Depends. Sometimes we get it early, usually like November, but like sometimes we get like an October one.
Oh, okay. So you're roughly what we are.
Yeah, it's similar. I think it's similar to there.
I just always picture like 18 feet of snow in Canada in
No,
like
that's like
May.
Winnipeg, Edmonton. That's not Toronto.
I gotcha. Because I mean, you're right there with Buffalo too, and Buffalo spends, I think, 11 months out of the year
Yeah, that's
with
true.
snow.
That's true.
uh, all right. Anyways, uh,
This is
yeah,
basically a weather report show now. It has nothing to do with wrestling.
yeah. Well, guess what? It's going to be hot because that's what AEW was last week.
Segue.
Yes. Well,
Very nice.
it was Fight for the Fallen. We had another themed week.
Yes.
Uh, which I mean, I don't know. Is it going to be like an every week thing?
They could make them all themed weeks and I would fall for it every single time. I'd be like, it's gonna be a
I'm
big episode. It has a theme. But like I would
yeah,
do it every single week and I'd believe it every single time.
I'm right there with you. Um, Show starts off with the AEW Interim World Title match between Roosh and Mox. Um, Regal was on commentary during this one, of course, because of Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club. Uh, I liked the Roosh jumped in. I thought that was it made Moxley look like he wasn't his normal self, like he had I don't know got in his own head for a second or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I thought it was cool. Mox got busted open early.
Shockingly, Fox
Yes.
bled. He's got the new Cody where he bleeds every match now.
Oh, because it probably never heals. Honestly, I mean, he
That's true.
wrestles. um, I can't remember how he got busted open though. Do you recall?
No. I think he kind of just got thrown into something and then like when they came back to him he was I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I also do not know. But anyways, um, they got the crowd going. They had a very hot crowd. They had a hard hitting match too. I mean,
Yeah, the crowd was great. Like all night, the crowd was really good.
yes, it was. Um, the every time you look at this match, you think that how's Mox gonna go like with a lucha style guy, but boy, Roosh brought it to Mox.
Yeah.
I was very impressed.
This seems to be an AEW kind of thing. They give the champ or the in this case the interim champ like a match that you wouldn't expect them to have a hard time with, and then they really showcase the other person. They've done it a couple times now. They did it with even when Punk wasn't the champion. They did it. They did it with Hangman a couple times where like Takeshita got a good match with him. Like
Yeah,
they kind of use the Roosh isn't winning, but they kind of
yes,
use it to showcase him a little bit.
yeah, and um, when he hit when Roosh hit Mox with the belly to belly into the corner,
Yeah,
it makes me so nervous.
I know.
I like cringe, and no matter who does it, it just
Yeah,
is. There's so much that can go wrong. I just
yeah.
to me,
There's a lot of AEW, and I know it's a New Japan thing as well. There's a lot of like neck related moves that they do that always kind of
yes.
make me wince. To the point, I think I've mentioned this before. To the point where I'm like, you could just not do that. It's fine.
Yeah.
You could just do a
Well,
regular German suplex. It's fine. Like we understand.
I agree. It's very true. It irks me. Um, I, I don't know if it was a production thing, but I assume you see the same feed as we see in America.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Did they drop the ball with the Andrade run in? Like, did they totally miss the run in?
yeah. I think they did.
I okay. I
I wasn't exactly sure what happened there.
Yes, well, same here. Like I was thinking, like, and when I was doing the write up, I was like, I don't really like. They said he did, and then he was all of a sudden he was kind of at ringside, but like they
Yeah,
missed the whole. Okay,
yeah.
well, anyways, he had, he ran in, and which I thought was a little bit of a surprise. The Lucha Brothers made the save for Mox, uh, and then Mox chokes out Roosh. Uh, at the very end, and you think that everything's over. Like, oh, okay, on to the next segment. Mox moved on, and then Jericho comes out.
Yeah.
It was wait for he challenged him for in 2 weeks at Quake by the Lake,
Another.
and he was yeah, another theme. uh he says he wants Moxley, and Moxley tells him he doesn't sports entertain.
Yeah.
He he says he wants the last graduate of Stu Hart's dungeon. He wants the Lionheart. How
Yeah.
awesome was that?
Yeah. I hope he comes. I think he will. I hope he comes out in like his like ECW style gear.
I totally has
I'm
to.
pretty. I'm pretty sure he will. That seems like a thing Jericho would definitely do.
Yeah, I hope he has the high ponytail or enough
Yeah.
hair to like semi make one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I noticed. First of all, Jericho mentioned incorrectly that he would be the first two-time AEW champion. Which, if they're counting this reign, Moxley's already the first two-time AEW champion.
Oh yeah.
And I also noticed both Mox and Regal refused to call it interim. Have you
I
noticed that?
know. Yes.
Like
Yes.
Excalibur will be like, he's the interim world champion, and then Regal will be like, he's the world champion. Like they refuse to acknowledge the interim tag, which is must
And
be on purpose at this point. Like they've done it enough times
yes.
that like they're doing it on purpose.
Oh, that absolutely. And and it's going to make obviously a better story for when Punk comes back because
Right,
they'll be like, no, I'm the champion, blah blah blah.
right.
Oh, it writes itself.
And I really like that they're doing the Jericho one on like in 2 weeks on Dynamite. I was worried they were going to do it at like All In, and this was going to be a prolonged Jericho Moxley feud, which I mean it would be fine, but we've already had a prolonged Jericho Moxley feud,
Yeah,
and I feel like we should do someone else. But if they're doing it in 2 weeks, like that makes sense,
yeah. If it even gets there, I have a theory.
right? Yes,
I
based on Rampage, it may not get there.
yes. Well, and that I'll explain my theory later.
All right, I'm
Um,
intrigued.
yeah. Um, so Jericho just does his little stare down, like they were flexing at each other, kind of, and camera cuts to Excalibur and the guys in the booth, and boom, out of nowhere, we have trios belts,
Yeah,
a, an upcoming tournament, and the finals are going to be it all out.
what a way to announce that! And I like because they made a joke like, no, we're not the first trio champions. That was
Yeah.
good.
Uh, I, I mean, we all, it was what, maybe 2 months ago now. Like Tony said it on Busted Open Radio that,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I have those titles.
before the Hart tournament ended because he also mentioned those belts at the same
Oh
time.
yes, that's right. Okay, you're right. Yeah, he basically said, yeah, they're just sitting here. We're sitting on something. Well, here it comes a couple months later.
And I really like the belts. I think I mentioned on Twitter. I mentioned to you as well. They remind me of the old. WWF tag team titles with like how they used to say tag like world tag team champs
Yes.
in big font on the front, like these trios. They look similar, which I like.
Yes. Oh yeah.
AEW titles have like an old school kind of look to them, most of them. So I like that.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love the belts.
They look good. Yeah. And there's
Um,
we were thinking there's so many trios teams.
yeah. Well, that's what I was just gonna ask you. Like, off the top of your head, who would you like to see?
I think the winners will probably be whoever the Young Bucks tag with. So it'll be Young Bucks and Hangman or Young Bucks and Kenny Omega if he's back. I think either of the and there might be a little thing there where who are they going to choose? I think that might be a storyline going into the tournament, but I think they're going to win it. How about you?
I well that's I was gonna go the other side. I was gonna say they were gonna give it of Red Dragon and Cole,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
that would work.
that would be like, well, we're the only ones with belts now. Like,
Right.
who are you guys? Like, that'll cause that like little inner conflict.
Yeah, I think somehow this is going to be what breaks up the elite or splits up the elite.
Yeah, that would be
I think I mean split like the Adam Cole undisputed elite half and then the Young
right.
Bucks Kenny Omega half. I feel like this is this tournament's gonna split them.
Oh yeah. Oh, see, man, I never even thought of that. If Kenny comes back, Kenny and the Bucks versus.
Yeah, I thought of
Ah,
that if Kenny comes and then if or Hangman like team with
yeah.
them and then Kenny comes back and he's like, wait a second, why are you teaming with him? What about me?
Oh, and then it screws Hangman doesn't get his moment with the Bucks
Yeah,
again.
yeah. There's lots of ways they could take this.
Oh, oh,
I mean, then based on just all the other teams, there's Jericho's Appreciation Society could probably do two teams. They could do Sammy Jericho, Jake Hager, and then 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. They could do Death Triangle. They could
oh,
do House of Black. They could do various.
yeah.
I mean, Dark Order could be a team. They could do.
Oh,
I even
yeah.
thought they could do like Jurassic Express and like Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot of teams.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of like, and they all made sense. Like, you were just
Right.
rattling them off, but they all made sense. Like, wow, that they have a big time trios division.
Yeah, and then ROH, who's the Dalton and the boys are the trios
Yes.
champs, right? I mean, they could always show up for
Yes.
this too.
Oh, no, don't even put me on that. That they'd win.
So yeah, there's a lot. This is going to be fun.
Yes, it is. So I after we just talked about that for like 4 minutes,
Yeah,
but
and that was just like naming teams.
yeah. Um, right after the belt announcement, we come back from a commercial, and Dante cuts this little promo. Uh, well, I shouldn't say little; it's big time promo actually. Showed a little bit of emotion, and I'm gonna call myself a genius and pat myself on the back because he announced his new valet in Sky Blue.
Yes,
And I just said last week she needed to put in a program. She's going to be a star.
there you go. I wonder if
Jonathan,
that's
this is
if this is going to be a permanent thing or if this is a one off. I hope it's a long term thing because then yeah, you're right. She needs something to do.
yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, and if I am internet, you can yell at me. I think they are a couple in real life.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then.
Um,
And I really like that there was kind of a theme of Dynamite and a little bit of Rampage. They gave people who don't usually get a chance to cut promos, they give them some time to cut promos.
yeah,
Like Dante never really cuts a promo, but he did, and he was like he can do it. He's not he's not The Rock, but like he's good. He can cut a promo, and it's perfectly reasonable. Like it was good. It was a good promo.
yeah. I like I said, I thought it was big time, especially for him. I mean,
Yeah,
he's over with the crowd for what he does in the ring,
right.
and I mean, if he could well, I mean, he proved he can talk. I was going to say if he can talk, he keeps talking that way. I mean, that's a complete package already.
Yeah, I wonder if they
So
have someone working because they like I mentioned, there was a couple guys who cut promos that you didn't expect to cut promos. I wonder if they're doing workshops, like if they have someone working with them, or if the guys are just learning like on their own by being around lots of the veterans, or how this is happening.
I don't know this 100%, but if I recall, I think that's what Dustin Rhodes
Okay,
is
yeah,
in
that makes
charge
sense.
of.
Yeah, he could do
I
that.
think, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Dustin.
Okay, yeah, it's working then. If that's what it is, that would make sense, and it's working because they have a lot of guys who I wouldn't have expected to be able to talk for even a couple minutes, who can now cut pretty reasonable, pretty good promos.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And
And that is the benefit we talked about last week when we were talking about Vince McMahon stuff. That's the benefit of letting people talk, like giving them bullet points or whatever, and letting them talk, is they learn how to talk.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
and I'm
that's all. I
just
was happy with it. I liked it.
same here. And we're we're gonna see an ongoing theme through this whole Fight for the Fallen week of I don't want to call it a youth movement, but a lot of the, excuse the pun, young bucks in AEW really got put in the spotlight this week or
Yeah,
last week.
definitely,
Excuse me.
definitely.
Speaking of FTW match, my boy Danhausen,
Yeah,
uh, thought he had it. Anyways, just
everything about
nice.
this match and the promo before it, the segment before it, like the little video they did, and the match itself, even though it was fast, and the everything that happened after, all perfect.
Yes, that's what I
So
was.
good.
Yes, this was like the tease,
Yeah,
and when Danhausen comes to the ring, and then all of a sudden, like this, and you get like a fade in, and you have Ricky Starks dressed as the Rock.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, like in a hype video before his music. And I mean, y'all know I love Ricky, so I thought this was the greatest moment in television history.
Yeah, I really
He,
like, based on, I'll mention it more later, but I really like that they clearly made him the heel here. Like that was a heel video, and going against
yes,
Danhausen is like a heelish thing to do because everyone loves that Danhausen, and then more happened.
yes. uh, I mean, like you said, he was the heel of heels going in, and the bell rang, and Danhausen did a couple little things, but it was like, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, if that.
But he managed to hurt Ricky's neck a little bit, which
He
matters.
did. Yes, does matter. So, uh, Ricky grabs the mic, and just as last week, you know, since this was even faster than last week, he's going to keep going. He has little left in the tank. Boom, hook.
So good. We were just
It
saying
was
we hope Hook.
so
We were
good.
just saying Hook needs something again. We were just saying Hook needs something to do, just like Sky
Yes,
Blue did, and then there he is. He has something to
and
do.
uh, and of course the faces that Ricky's making as Hook's walking to the ring
Yeah,
are fantastic. And I, just as fast as uh, Danhausen lost, Ricky's match with Hook wasn't much longer.
right.
Uh, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
Hook taps him out, and you know, uh, they they shake hands afterwards. So apparently, um, the Taz stable still exists.
Yeah, I like that. That was like they did like the little fist bump and a nod, like we're cool. That's
Yeah,
like it was. Yeah,
yeah. Uh, so you think it's over, whatever. Well, uh, Shivani's in the ring, and Ricky Starks becomes pretty much maybe the biggest baby face in the company.
Yeah, that was a really good. That was a. You don't see very many. I mean, this did have an attack, but you don't see very many face turns that just result in like someone just doing a good job in the ring and then cutting a promo and now they're a face. Like there's very few immediate
Yes.
turns. But
Yeah.
he was like the clear heel, like 10 minutes ago, and
Yes.
then he was a clear face. Like it was really good. It was perfectly well done.
Yes. Perfect. And the cherry on top of it all, Will Hobbs, super villain right
Yes.
now, attacks him from behind, just stands over him, walks out, and Taz puts it over as Hobbs is no longer with Team Taz.
Yeah, I was thinking like, is Team Taz still Hook and Ricky Starks and Taz? Are they still a unit?
Oh,
What do you think?
well, I was just thinking, I hope Danhausen claims that he's in it.
That would be great. Yeah.
Like, I'm just.
Yeah, like they have a segment backstage where like Ricky and Hook are there with Taz, and they're like talking about Danhausen just shows up. He's like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah,
What's the plan? What's the plan, guys? And they're like, what are you talking about?
yeah, yeah. That's actually what I hope happens. Uh, but talk about the trios match,
Yeah,
or the trios team, not match. Team Taz could be.
yeah. And
Oh,
this sets so much up because you have a Hobbs against Starks now, which is obviously going to be good. And
yeah,
then now the FTW title is on Hook, and like even if he just comes out and crushes people in 2 minutes every single week, like there's a more of a reason for it now. It's like a
right.
he's putting up the belt, and he might win every single week, but there's a reason for him to come out and squash somebody every week. So
And
that's really good.
and talk about long-term storytelling. Is it maybe 3 weeks ago is when Ricky declared the belt an open title.
Right,
Well, that now puts over Hook never has to talk.
right,
They could just have him in the ring and say, "All right, dude's coming." Okay.
right. Yeah,
Or so and so's in the ring. You hear Hook's music. Oh, it's going to be an FTW match.
yeah. I mean, this is I think based on. I don't mean to always take shots at WWE, but this is based on WWE.
Okay.
I initially got worried that like, oh, Hobbs is gonna get lost now because I mean he's Ricky Starks can talk. Ricky Starks can do a lot. Hobbs is great in the ring, but he doesn't really, not that I know of, cut promos. So my first concern was like, oh, after this feud, is he going to be, just a guy? But I don't think he will be. I think this is the start of something for him too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like for Ricky
Uh,
Starks, this is the start of like a big. This is going to be a big face push for him.
yeah.
And I will
And
admit, I feel that I have to admit, just like you admit that you were wrong about Jade. I was wrong about Ricky Starks when he like at the beginning. I didn't see anything in him. I thought he was just some guy, but he's
oh,
great. He's great, and
it,
I love him. I was wrong.
and hey, we're all allowed to be, but
Yeah,
I still don't see how you didn't see that one.
yeah. No, he's great.
And uh, coming full circle on the youth, going on with that youth movement. Yeah, I hate to say that with AEW because everybody's young, but they really put a stake. It could even in the category is we'll say it was a statement of a show in a way.
Yeah, especially because the knock on AEW twofold. I mean, we even mentioned it last week. The knock on
Yeah,
AEW was they didn't have too many storylines, which now they just started like 4 storylines on this show.
right.
And the other knock on them that I never felt, but a lot of people felt, was it was a lot of just ex guys who are already stars, you know,
Yeah,
former WWE guys, former ROH guys who are already stars, Danielson's, Punk's, Moxley's, Jericho's. Um, but this is clearly not the case. Like they put over a lot of young talent on the show
yeah, and
and on
the
Rampage.
well, the whole fight for the fallen week was a youth movement per
Yeah,
se, and the in this match, Sammy versus Dante. I didn't put this in the notes, but you know when AEW started, you wouldn't have known, 3 years down the line that these guys would not only be holding their own, but like way more than they are, but in storylines that are way more serious than you would have thought.
Right.
Just a credit to them and their work ethic and everything that they've done, but they've really got themselves over. And this match was them being able to shine on national television. It was unreal.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was kind of what you would have expected from a match between these two, but it was like what you expected was good, and it was good.
Right. Yeah. At the very, it was within the first couple minutes. Um, Sammy slid under the bottom rope, and Dante is still in the ring, and he goes to do his like jump ring to the top rope, then out of the ring. And as he's jumping up to the top rope, Sammy slides back under, and Dante backflips over him, so they landed face to face. It was the
Yeah.
most incredible thing ever. Unreal. It was so cool.
Yeah,
But
there's stuff like that where you're just like, I don't even know how that's a thing that people can do.
yeah, I mean, like obviously, not everything is planned ahead. Like they had to work on that.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
But still, like they couldn't have been working on it all that long.
And they
Like what are
still
the
and they still had to do it. I mean, me and you could work on
yes,
that for the rest of our lives, and
right,
probably never do it. So
right. Yeah, they did literally had one shot at it, and it was live in front of the
right,
world, and they did it perfectly. It was
right.
unreal. Uh, and then the match got a little dirty. Uh, Dante flying off the stage onto Sammy, I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
Uh, it showed. I don't want to say that Dante doesn't have an edge, but it showed like that he's willing to do what it takes.
yeah,
I'll put everything on the line. But the second half of this match, I thought was I understand why it was done in hindsight, but at the time, I thought they kind of lost a little bit of the mustard. I don't know. Are you with me on that? Or
yeah. I could see that. I can see that.
yeah, okay. And this is just where I'm not going to necessarily complain of the move, but I'm going to complain of the move choice. Um, when Sammy hit the high knee on Dante from the top rope,
Yeah,
I, that is like I don't know. I guess you could say that these guys have tape of each other, so that's where you expect Sammy to jump up and do something crazy, not something that you could see from 6 miles away coming at you, and Dante just runs into him. I'm like,
sure.
I
Yeah,
just
that makes
thought
yeah,
that was, and I understand it's scripted. I understand, and like it, it looked good too that he did it. I was just like, it was just stupid that
right,
like that would never happen in real life.
right,
Like I don't know, and that kind of took me out of it.
right.
And they got me back when Dante did the backflip out of the Spanish Fly. I thought
Yeah,
that was,
that was amazing.
yeah. uh, well, Sammy turns around and hits another Spanish Fly, and he gets the win. Uh, I thought the ending seemed a little rushed, but I understand it's a television match,
Yeah, I feel like they
and
kind of just called it. Like the ref probably told him to end it.
yeah, and I mean everything that they hit was, I mean, spot on and everything. It just seemed like it ended super
Yeah,
quick.
yeah,
Uh, but it was a fantastic match, and like pretty much little to no shenanigans, huh? It was pretty fair. I mean,
yeah. It was a
they could
lot.
have bent the
It was.
rules a little
It
bit.
wasn't perfectly clean, but it was cleaner than I expected it to be.
Yeah, especially with Sammy
Right.
and um uh and Ty.
Yeah.
But hey, what about everyone found out that Daniel Garcia can talk, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one. Another
Yeah,
person who you wouldn't expect to. Again, none of these people I thought were bad at cutting promos. I just hadn't heard them cut promos, so I didn't know that they could. But yeah,
Well, as good of a promo as we thought the Daniel Garcia promo was, I'm just gonna say I could swear in so many ways, but I'm not going to. I'll say holy mackerel, Jungle Boy.
yeah. Jungle Boy had no qualms about swearing in his promo. That's for sure.
Zero. And I had no qualms about standing up and yelling at my television after he did because I could not believe
Yeah,
this
that was like
promo.
I did not expect as much as I didn't expect, Danny Garcia or Dante to cut it. I did not expect Jungle. Like when I heard Jungle Boy's going to talk, I thought he would come out and
Yeah,
talk for like a minute and then they end it because he can't talk, right?
right.
But no, he can. That was
Yeah,
he managed to make it like meaner than Christian made his promos. Which I
yeah,
mean, obviously they're working together on this. They're both like
right,
allowing this stuff to happen. But
right.
the fact that they are is like is really it's still it's all scripted. They're working together, and it's still kind of shocking.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
And it
well,
explains things. Like it explains a lot. Like
yes,
Christian explained, like
yes,
he was mad at Jungle Boy for costing him money, and then Jungle Boy was like, "Wait a second, aren't you really successful? Why do you care about that?" Oh yeah,
right.
okay, maybe it's because your wife left you and took all your money. Yeah,
Uh,
it fits really well.
it, oh, when Jungle Boy told Christian, "You've never been more relevant because of me."
Yeah. It was another one
Oh,
where like they were being mean and insulting each other, but they were being mean and insulting each other with like Christian's promo. Like it made sense. He wasn't just being a jerk to be a jerk. Like he like the your wife. It wasn't just like hey look your wife left you. Like that wasn't in
right.
there just for no reason. It was like no I understand why you're upset
You're
and care
right.
about money because you need the money. Like he explained why he was bringing up a divorce, not just like throwing it out there. Like oh by the way you're divorced. Like it made sense.
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. Uh, and it, Christian actually interrupts the promo.
Yeah, I feel like when he interrupted, the Jungle Boy couldn't hear him interrupting
Yeah, there was a little tiff there.
because Christian was kind of on screen for a while looking at, and like Jungle Boy kept talking. Like I feel like they couldn't hear each other for a bit. I feel like
Yeah,
it didn't really affect the promo, but I felt like there was a little sound issue there.
yeah, there was definitely something, but Christian is so good.
Yeah,
Like, oh, after like everything that happened, uh, up to this point in the show, like I'm just like, it's every week,
this is one of
and
those storylines are based on the promos. I hope they give they each give another promo or two before they
oh
fight
yeah,
because this seems like a thing where you're like you really want them to get in a match and I hope they push back the match a little bit. Not like in AEW. I said last week they tend to drag things out for too long. I don't want them to drag
right,
this out for like months without them fighting, but I would like them to drag it out for like a bit longer. Like I want them to each do another couple promos, and then Jungle Boy tries to get his hands on Christian, and Christian runs away. Like I want it a bit of a delay
oh yeah,
because
oh
when they
yeah,
fight, it's going to be a fight.
yeah, oh yeah, oh, that's it's
This
like one of the
this is
most
a feud.
interesting storylines.
Yeah, and this is a storyline that I didn't think this is not a feud that I thought I really wanted, and it's not a feud that I
Yes,
thought like if you thought like oh what's going to be a really personal intense feud, I would have thought like oh they can have good matches with each other, but I
yeah,
wouldn't have thought like they're going to have like a blood feud. But like
yeah,
they are. So
yeah. And it's so good.
yeah, they're both
Uh,
getting. It's Jungle Boy's time to shine, like because he hasn't really had a a singles push like this. But it's also Christian's time to shine. Like he's getting a
yeah,
singles push that he hasn't had too many big singles pushes either. So I mean outside of TNA, so it's good for both of them.
yeah, and Christian has Matt Hardy this week, so
Right.
there, there's so much.
I feel like Christian's gonna like hurt Matt Hardy. Like he's going to do something really devious to Matt Hardy.
Oh, of course.
Because I feel like the story is like they're like forever rivals who've been fighting for 20 years, and then like instead of having a match, Christian's gonna like I don't know do something just to like be more of a heel.
Yeah, and there's so many things that he could do.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be good.
It's going to be very good. Um, well, we were on a promo train here with the third and I think final promo. Yes, because then we actually had a match. Uh, the Bucks. It's the first time we've seen them in a few weeks, which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
Um, and again, you know, talk about AEW. Thank God this roster is who they are because you don't even notice that the Bucks haven't been on TV for like 3 weeks,
yeah,
2 weeks, something like that.
it's really good how they can like even if people are injured, they can take time off. But even if they're not injured, they can just it prevents people from getting injured really if they can take
Yeah,
time off every so often, and the show can run fine with someone gone, someone major
yeah,
gone for a few weeks.
and that well, that's a whole other can of worms. That
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna wash our hands of that. um, we get the tease of the Hung Bucks,
Yes.
but like, are they doing it to just do what I was all on that train. Then you brought up, well, what if Kenny comes back? And then
Right.
I want that to happen.
I love this because I always pictured the Dark Order as like Hangman's the cool kid in high school who like doesn't have too many friends, but he's cool. Like people like him. And
Yeah,
then the Dark Order is kind of like his like, band club friends or his like drama club friends that are just his like little kind of nerdy goofy friends who like
yeah,
they're really supportive and they like him and he likes them, but like they're not cool, they don't fit
right,
him. So
right.
then like when Hangman sees the Bucks, he's like, oh, those are the other cool kids, and he's trying to be
Like,
friendly to the other cool kids, and then Dark Order shows up, it's like, hey, and then
yeah,
it's great.
yes, it is fantastic. And again, the Dark Order showed up to wish Hangman a happy birthday.
Yeah. And I like
Uh,
because they're like the better friends. I mean, the Young Bucks are like the cooler friends, but Dark Order like
yes,
they're his actual friends. Like they care
yes.
about him. They're nice to him. Like yeah, it works good.
Uh, but like, honestly, what do you think they're gonna do? Like,
I think that based on Hangman this week, I feel like he was kind of like intrigued by he wanted to talk to the Bucks, and the Bucks kind of wanted to talk to him, but then Dark Order showed up, and I feel like Hangman kind of thought, oh yeah, that's why we're not friends anymore. Like there's a reason. We felt like
right,
we didn't just drift apart. Like there's a reason we're not friends anymore. And I feel like maybe they'll like I think Kenny's gonna come back. And I think the Bucks and Hangman are kind of gonna get closer. They'll like, you know, beat each other's matches or have some talks backstage, and you think they're gonna be and then Kenny's gonna show up and he'll be like, what's going on? And they'll kind of
oh,
and I feel like the Bucks could be like, "Oh yeah, we're not with him. No, of course not. No, 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 we're with you, of course, yeah." And
right.
then Hangman's going to be like, "Oh, I thought this was going to be a thing," and like, "No, no, 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 no. We're with Kenny."
Oh man.
I think that's where that's going to go. And then
And
Dark
I
Order will
and
be
I
there. And then Dark Order will be there for Hangman when he needs them
true
again.
again.
I
Wow.
think it'll eventually end up with Hangman going back to the Elite, but I think they'll have a little issue for a while first.
And that all makes sense. Oh, that's
And
just
it'll be so good. Like the
yeah, exactly.
Hangman Elite Dark Order storyline. Like I know it's been going on for like 3 years,
But
but it's been good the whole time.
yes, it has been. Huh. Oh, it's fantastic. Uh, I also think they're gonna actually do the Hung Bucks. I think that's where the titles go.
Yeah,
I
they could do
it's
that too. I mean, they could win it and then Kenny comes back.
true because then that
Then what
even
do they do?
creates, yeah.
Because what if
Oh,
Kenny's and Kenny might be mad at the Bucks because the last time we saw Kenny, he said he hadn't watched the match with Hangman, but I'm assuming he has now. and the Bucks kind of let him, like they let Hangman win. Like
Oh,
they didn't stop him.
yeah, yeah.
So maybe Kenny
So,
has a problem with the Bucks. Maybe that's where the issue is.
oh, damn it, it's so good.
And then and this isn't even mentioning Adam Cole and where that's going to go.
Right. It's unbelievable. There's literally limitless things that could happen in just the Elite right now.
Yeah, and like the Elite, you can say, I mean, obviously their name is in the company's name, so they clearly have a lot to do with it. Obviously,
Right.
even if you didn't know the EVP situation, like obviously they're named after the company's named after them.
Right.
But they, I mean, they show why it's named after them. Like there's when AEW started, my first thought was, I know they're gonna, like before they had anything, my first thought was like, oh, they're gonna have really good matches, but are they gonna do any storylines? Because like from what I know of New Japan, it's not as involved with the storylines as North American wrestling is.
Right.
And I'm used to North American wrestling, so my concern was that it wouldn't be, they'd have great matches, but they wouldn't have great storylines. But like the Elite can write good storylines. Like I'm sure they're doing this. Like Tony's probably involved,
Right.
but I think these are stories that they come up with, and these are angles that they come up with, and they show why they have a company named after them, because they are really good at this.
Yeah. I mean, it, it, I I agree totally with what you're saying about like they I think they have more power than they let on, or even
Yeah,
Tony Khan lets on.
yeah,
How he says, "Oh, the buck stops with me" or whatever. Like,
right,
I mean, I'm not saying he's playing the heel. Like, he's not playing a character. I mean, yeah, he might get the final say, as in, like, yes or no if something's going to happen, or maybe this is for later. But it's not like he doesn't go to the Bucks and say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing."
right. No,
It's
I think
it's
their
the other
stuff
way
they write
around.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I
Definitely.
feel like it was the same way with Cody. And I'm not, again, I don't want to turn this into a Cody thing, but I think Cody wrote a lot of his own stuff too, because it felt very different from the rest of the show. So I think he also had that power to
Yeah,
write his
yeah.
own things that I think the Bucks and Kenny also have.
But do you think it's different from the rest of the show?
No, I don't think the Bucks and Kenny are different from the rest of the show. I think
Oh,
they managed
Cody's was
Cody's
okay.
was different from the rest of the show, so you could tell he had some sort of
I gotcha.
script writing ability, or some sort of power that no one else had really,
I gotcha.
because he was, it felt like he was writing his own stories.
Yes, you could tell.
and and the Bucks are writing their own stories, and Kenny's writing their own, but like they don't feel out of place. They don't feel like they're in
Yeah, that's okay.
their own universe. Cody's always felt like his own little thing.
Definitely. Definitely.
They make it work a lot better.
Oh yeah, I agree. Um, Tony Nese, Smart Mark Sterling versus Swerve. And
Yeah,
I mean, this match served its purpose uh, to get Josh Woods introduced,
right.
basically. Uh, Swerve wins after, I don't know, a couple minutes, and then it quick cuts to backstage, and Josh Woods is standing over Keith Lee, and looks like we have Woods and Nese tag team.
Yeah, I don't know who Josh Woods is. When he showed up, I had no idea who he was. Who is? Do you know who he
He
is? Who is
was,
he?
I know his name. He was in Ring of Honor, I believe.
Okay.
Uh, Hold on, I can look him up real quick.
All right. Yeah, because
And
I, the way they responded to him, which AEW does a lot, which is fine because they assume their audience can do a Google search, which is like, of course we can.
right,
So it makes sense that they didn't spend a lot of time. I'm sure Excalibur will do a 30-second recap of who he is the next time we see him,
right.
so that'll catch everyone up.
Oh
But
wow,
I knew he was someone because they weren't like, who is that? Like I knew he was someone that people should know, but I don't know
yeah.
who he is.
Um, wow, I didn't realize this. He was in NXT from 2014 to 2016, and he's been with.
Who from Ring of Honor wasn't in NXT? Like
Uh,
they weren't they all? And like didn't NXT basically just hire Ring of Honor?
yeah, pretty much everyone except Cheeseburger and
Yeah,
Dalton Castle of all people. Like, why
and
wouldn't you take Dalton
and
Castle?
and Gresham,
Yeah, and Jay Lethal.
right? But most of
Yeah,
NXT, most of
most of it.
ROH went to NXT.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like when I had my first rant. That's what I was talking about. When people says those are ex WWE guys, they are not. They're ex
Right,
Ring of Honor people.
right. They just also worked for WWE.
Yeah. So anyway, I won't even get on that rant. But yeah, he was in Ring of Honor from 2016 until like it says till present. So I guess he was never really fired.
Yeah, maybe he's a Ring of Honor signing that will show
Yeah.
up on AEW sometimes. Actually,
Uh.
Tony Nese in Ring of Honor would be kind of good to see.
Oh yeah.
I think that would
Um.
work.
I mean, he'd be perfect for the Pure Championship.
Yeah, Ring of
Uh.
Honor just needs a TV show. Like I'm not upset that this happened, but like, and obviously Tony Khan knows this too. We talked about it last week, but like they need a show.
Yeah.
But hopefully that happens.
I yeah. I mean, there's nothing like. I don't know. Like they didn't even the word television show didn't even happen during the pay per view.
Right. Yeah. It seems like they're having
Like
a. There's got to be something going on there. Like there's an issue for some reason. But
yeah, and I don't know. We'll see, I
yes.
guess. But unfortunately, that puts Ring of Honor in semi limbo, and that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
um, I have a little story about something before we cut to the House of Black thing because it deals with oh, I almost called him Alistair Black. That's terrible. Wow. Uh, now I can't think of his name.
Mal.
Malachi Black. Yeah. It has to do with Malachi Black. I was watching, he was getting tattooed by a real famous tattoo artist, Paul Booth. And like Paul asked him like how does his creative process go and in AEW and he basically says that everybody is given basically a blank slate and you go to Tony and Tony can like edit it or give you the okay to do it and um then you just see if it works, see what you got to do. But he said like with House of Black, he was um I was kind of surprised. He prefers that Tony edits it to a point of like it has something like it challenges him. And I thought
Okay.
that was really cool. Like, because he says like if I go this way, it's his money, it's his company. He can totally tell me no, but he never says no. He will just rewrite it and I'll look at it and go, oh man, that's better.
Yeah. That
And then
makes a
it
lot of
makes him think better. Like,
that makes a lot of sense actually too because I like that I like hearing that because I like that he's checking because he's not only checking to see like, oh, is this good? Does this make sense? I feel like he's also checking like, does this fit in with like what your vision of me and what your vision of the company like? Is this going to work with like
right.
AEW and their storylines and so it makes it feel like a more of a cohesive thing.
And I mean, yeah, everybody makes fun of Tony Khan, but he calls it a team. And
Yeah,
that's what a head coach does.
right,
It makes a bunch of basically egomaniacs get together and
right.
perform at the highest level possible.
So speaking of that, and speaking of what we talked about here today, I
Yeah.
saw that today, yesterday, recently, last couple of days, was a year since Malachi beat Cody, and Cody, tried to retire and then got kicked in the
Oh,
face. That was a
okay.
year ago, which I was surprised. That didn't feel like a year ago, but it was a year
Yes, it
ago.
wow, it does not feel like a year at all.
Um, so a lot of people were saying, "Oh, AEW, dropped the ball on him because he seemed like he was going to be, a huge single star, and now he's big, but he's a guy in a faction. He's not getting singles matches," which I don't think I agree with. I feel like he still feels important.
Yeah,
It's just
definitely.
it's just you can only have so many, main event guys at any given time.
Right.
But what I wanted to ask you is, does Malachi feel special like he felt like back then he felt special? Do you think he continues to feel special?
Oh yeah, like I definitely because he takes this character like way to heart, and yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, I feel like he does too. I feel like he also feels different from the rest of the show, but not in a bad way.
Yes,
Like he's
yes, and
when he
that's I
comes
think
out, it kind of like stops.
yeah,
Like whatever all the craziness, he doesn't yell. He doesn't like have even his music is kind of it's not it's screaming, but it's not loud specific like
yeah,
it's not really
it's
fast or anything, right? It's kind of
yeah,
like a
it's like a
slower
droney, yeah,
yeah. So I feel like when him in the House of Black comes out, the show kind of whatever craziness, because Dynamite's a crazy show. There's always
yeah,
a million things happening, and he kind of stops it, and then you pay attention to him,
yeah.
which I think is it's pretty cool.
It is, and this promo did exactly what you said. It slowed down the momentum of the show in a great way,
Yeah,
and when he steps into that light, oh, it's so perfect. He steps in and basically puts a hand out to Miro and basically says, "You're welcome in."
yeah,
Uh, I mean, we have to get a response this week. We have
yeah.
to.
What do you think it'll be? You think he's going to go with them?
I kind of want him to,
I feel like
but
either way works. Like either whatever they
yes,
do is going to work.
yeah, because
And
they're either going to be amazing together talking against somebody, or they're going to be amazing talking against each other.
yeah,
Like
I
the
don't know.
promo is going to be unreal.
I don't know what I prefer. I like it's going to be good no matter what they do, but I don't know what I prefer to be honest.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And then, you think that's the end of the segment. You think, okay, Malachi says his spiel. He's the leader. Brody King steps into the light, challenges Darby to a coffin match,
Yes.
and I don't see how Darby can win.
Yeah, no, I really think Brody King's gonna and Darby's at least in AEW, he's undefeated in coffin matches, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So I feel like Brody King will win.
And this is his first, like, his first some he made the challenge. Like, he challenged Andrade,
Right,
he challenged Ethan Page. This is
right,
the first time the script has been flipped. So
right.
I,
The only reason
I
the only reason I think Brody King will win. The only reason I think Darby might win is because he hasn't won much recently.
well, that's true too.
Though
And
maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe he's someone like we talk about how he's like Mick Foley a lot. Like
yeah,
it was good when
he
Mick Foley
is.
won the title, but like it doesn't really matter that Mick Foley could lose every single match,
Right.
and he's still a big deal. Like you're still going to want to see him. And I think Darby
Yeah,
might be the same way. That like it's going to be a good match. He can lose again, and it's not like the next time he comes out, people aren't going to to him. They still will.
exactly. And he has his following of like super hardcore fans, like,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I could see him being the AEW Mick Foley if I mean, like we say like it's a bad thing. I mean, Mick's a legend.
Right. Yeah, of course.
And
No, obviously.
yeah, but
I still remember Mick Foley cutting a promo at some point when he I think it was around the time he won the title, like either right before he won it or right after he won it, sometime around then. And they gave he was Mankind, and they gave him new theme music that wasn't like the slow theme. It's when he
uh
got like the car crash theme song.
oh,
And
okay.
I remember him coming out and being like, I was watching that video when they used to have the Titan Run videos that actually had stuff happening in them. And he's like, I was
Oh,
watching
okay.
that video when I came out, and I noticed it's just me getting beaten up. Like I don't think I have any offensive moves in that video. And like that was his intro. Like that's what they showed to like, but like it wasn't done in like a disrespectful way. It's like that's the
Right.
thing that he does. Like he gets beat up, right? But
That's
it,
hilarious. Now I want to watch it. That's what I'm gonna
yeah.
do when we're done later. That is hilarious.
So Darby's a little bit like that. Like he obviously has offense. He can do things,
Right.
but this coffin match, he's gonna get beat up like a lot, and
Yeah. Yeah.
to the point
Like
where you're like, how is that possible? Like, does he have bones? Does he like Can he? Can he
Yeah, so
like?
like
Is he alive? Like,
yeah, like is he some sort of AI?
yeah, it's gonna be. I think it'll be Brody King just like throwing him around like the last time. I think it'll be Brody King throwing him around a lot.
Yeah,
Whether or not he wins, I don't know. He might win because he lost the last match, but this could be like a really big Brody King push, and that could
yeah,
start by him. He has more to gain from winning,
true. Very true.
so it'll be fun.
It'll be very fun.
Did they say when
And
that was?
I was just going to ask you, I don't think they announced when,
No,
because
it's not. It's not this week because this week they're doing some
no,
other
it's
stuff.
definitely, yeah, it's week. Um, but I mean, well, I was gonna say, like, what if Darby says no? I just thought of that. Like,
Yeah,
he
that's true. He hasn't
totally just
accepted.
cha Yeah, he hasn't accepted yet.
Yeah, I
I
would
don't
like to
know.
see that happen in a match. Actually, they hype up like a big match, and everyone's all
Yeah,
excited. And it would have to be a heel to say no,
yeah. It's
but
like
then
I'm
just
not
go,
doing that.
nah, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. Why would I do that?
Yeah, yeah. Why? Why?
We just don't have the match.
Yeah, and then it just never happens.
And then they just don't do it. Like they don't goad him into it. It just nope, we're not. You
Yeah,
challenged me, and I said no. I will have a
yeah,
regular match. I'll have like a
yeah,
one-on-one match, but I'm not going to do that.
yeah. Oh, that would be incredible. Um, the women's title match.
It's 9:20 on Wednesday, so you know what that means.
Yes. Oh, come on. But you're correct. You're correct. Thunder Rosa versus Miyu Yamashita.
Yes.
And uh, great uh, chemistry. These two really beat the heck out of beat the heck out of each other. Great match.
Yes.
Uh, when Yam- when Yamashita did the deadlift German on Rosa, like that was some strength. Like, you know, that's hard to do, and she just did it. Like that was unreal.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, do you like what they did for Yamashita to get the title shot, though?
Um, yeah, because I mean Thunder Rosa needs something to do, and they had a good match, and I mean Roosh got a title shot for doing less, so I guess it kind of.
Well, that's true. That's
So
true.
I guess it. I mean, it's not the real title; it's the interim title. But if you ask William Regal, it's the real title.
That is
Um,
true.
yeah, it made sense. They needed to get. I think they're stalling with Thunder Rosa. I'm slightly worried they're going to go back to Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, and that's why they're kind of not giving her anything else to do. But it was fine. What do you think?
I, I thought it was really cool because it was totally unexpected for the champion, even though the belt wasn't on the line, to get pinned. Like I thought
Right.
that was booked really well. Because then it kind of legitimizes the sport that's not real. Like, every once in a while they throw you a curveball.
Yeah, it's good to have that once in a while because otherwise you just every time they would have had a non title match, you're just like, well, I
Entitled.
know what I know what
Exactly.
happens. Yeah,
Yes.
so it's good to
So
do it sometimes.
yeah, but I mean, other than that, it was a fairly quick match. Rosa retains. They did the bow of respect. Uh, and how you said, I was going to ask you what you thought was next. Do you think it's good? Definitely Brit.
I don't know. I think they might be teasing Brit. I think they might do Brit again. Um, in kind of the way they're doing Moxley Jericho. Like they're not going to wait for a pay per view. They might do it on a
Oh,
Dynamite.
okay.
Um, because I mean Britt's cutting a lot of promos on Thunder Rosa, so I feel like that's going to go somewhere, but it might not. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I was just going to say if they do it short term, I mean, there's Battle of the Belts this Friday, so
Right.
and so I guess they could do that. I think that uh, Tony Rosa breaks up and Tony Storm goes after her.
Yeah, it seems like it seems like Britt is pushing for that. I think it was on Rampage she did the promo where
Yeah,
she kind of mentioned, I noticed you're hanging out with Tony Storm. I said, because you don't want her to take your title. And Tony, why are you not going against her? You should be. So I think she's trying to push that button. and I
Yeah,
maybe a thing with Britt is what gets them to break up.
and that would make sense. That would make sense. Now, if this is just a hypothetical and how you would fantasy book this, if the women's title changes hands and just say to Tony Storm,
Right.
do you have the TBS title change hands and push Jade to the next level to kind of mix that up?
Not right away. I think now that you mention it, I think what might happen is Britt kind of pushes them to break up. Tony does break up, like turn, or maybe not even turn, but they split up. She asks for a
Uh-huh.
match. Tony probably wins that match. Then Britt is like, "Hey, you only got that because I kind of pushed you to do it." And then she kind of then she ends up in a program with Britt Baker for a bit. And I think Tony Storm will win it, but I
Well,
think that's where they're going to go.
that makes a lot of sense. And it just, you just wrote like 2 months of TV.
I mean, that's what I could see happening because I mean, Britt Baker,
Definitely.
despite the fact that I don't necessarily believe this, but the general consensus is there's too much Britt Baker in the women's division. Uh, there is for a reason. Like
Yeah.
she's not the absolute best wrestler. She may not even be the best promo, but like as an overall entertainer, as an overall
Yeah.
package, she's one of the best they have. So
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard to not put her in the title picture at least sometimes, even though
Oh,
she
absolutely.
even though she was champ for a long time.
Absolutely. Moving right along. Main event Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson. Jericho on commentary. We saw another fast start. I just thought of that too. We had a lot of fast starts on
Oh
this
yeah, that's
episode.
true. That's true.
uh, Danielson, or Garcia jumps Danielson, excuse me, and they just went at it.
Yeah,
Like this was one of those we'll shake hands backstage and apologize when it's over
right.
because they literally had a fight on national TV. The DDT on the concrete made my skin crawl.
Yeah.
That was that was just gross. I mean, this is like as good as Garcia is. Garcia's amazing. There's no one better than Danielson though. Like
I saw a tweet,
any
and again, I'm like you. I don't remember who it was, so I can't give them credit. Uh, but
perfect.
Brian Danielson is the best wrestler in the world right now, and
Right.
there's so many years that you could say that.
Yeah.
Like if at any point in the last 10, 15
Yeah.
years you said Brian
Yeah.
Danielson is the best wrestler in the world, people would be like, oh yeah, I agree. Like
Yeah.
it might be 20 years. Like it's been a very long time that he's
That
been
is
the best.
and
And he's done
like
so many things in that time. He's been a heel, he's been a
oh
face,
yeah.
he's been like an underdog, he's been a tough guy, he's been ROH, he's been WWE, he's been AEW, he's been everywhere,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
he's
he
been
made
good
people
at
care
it.
about Kane.
He made people care about
Like
everything. Like it's
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean
Kane,
they literally made him a wooden title. It's because he cared
right?
about he cared about the
Oh,
planet.
that was
Like
so good. I don't know if you saw any of that when he was the planet champion. That was so good. It was so
no,
good. It
I
made
knew
me
what it was, but
it made me watch WWE. It was so good. Like it was really good.
wow.
Like,
Wow. That's it was the planet's champion. That's incredible.
he's great. He's so
Oh,
good.
he's fantastic. Uh and well, like I just said, there's no one better. And the the chain wrestling in the second half of this match was unbelievable to go through the physicality that they did in the first half. Like the second half, they did things that were more exhausting.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
unreal. Like uh and talk about the youth movement again and another surprise.
Yep.
Garcia, even though it was a heel win though, it was a total heel win.
Yeah, but
Um,
it was somewhat clean. Like there was interference, but I mean he did put him in a sharpshooter and he did pass out. So I mean
yeah,
it was clean-ish. It was heelish enough that he was a heel, but it was also
yes,
slightly he can say I beat you without like too much of an asterisk beside it.
yeah, and
So it was good.
that's a good. Yeah, that's what were your like? I mean, this match was borderline perfect. I mean, it had everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I was shocked
was
though I was shocked that Garcia won. Like I like that he won. I think that's going to go
same
somewhere great,
here.
but I was
Yes.
completely shocked.
Yeah, I think we both sent the text of "Whoa."
Yeah, I did not expect. I thought this was going to be like a Moxley Wheeler Yuta thing where like he pushes him really far and he almost beats him, but he doesn't. But no, he won.
Yeah, and oh,
You
that
almost feel like that was Danielson's call too. Like he wanted that he
oh
wanted to
yeah,
lose.
oh
That
yeah,
seems
he
like the way
definitely
he
yeah,
operates. Like he would have wanted to lose this match.
yeah, because they're playing long ball. Like
Yeah.
it's that this feud is going to be incredible.
Oh yeah. And it's going to just push Garcia so far ahead. Like you can't. First of all, he's a great
Yeah,
wrestler on his own. Like he would get
yeah,
over being a great wrestler. But as a very good wrestler, you can't get into a feud with Bryan Danielson and not look better by the time it's over. No matter what happens in that feud. Like you
right,
said, he made people care about Kane in like 5 years ago when like no one should have cared about Kane 5 years ago.
right.
But
I mean,
or whenever
exactly.
that was. But
Yeah, I mean, and people like they were an over tag team. I mean,
right.
hell
In in
no.
in
Like
in
it made me
WWE who
care.
does in WWE that doesn't care about tag teams. I mean, that was probably pushing on 10 years ago now that I think about it. But
Yeah, because
still,
we would party at my buddy Chris's and we would watch every WWE pay-per-view. It was just
yeah, I
like,
think it was like
yeah,
2014. I feel like it
yeah, that
was.
sounds about right. Yeah. 14,
Um,
15.
and they
Because
they they made Kane. He made Kane over when Kane was past his prime at that point, and he made a tag team over, which tag teams don't get over
right.
in WWE very easily. Like there's very few tag teams in modern WWE that get over, and they did it, and it's 90%, Daniel Bryan at the time.
Oh, yeah. And oh, this feud is going to be
He
incredible.
had. I don't want to go on a Dana Bryan love fest, Bryan Danielson, Dana Bryan love fest. But he had
Okay.
he had a match with Brock Lesnar when they were both champions in Survivor Series when they do the champion versus champion stuff.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Daniel Bryan at the time was WWE champion, I think, and Brock was Universal champion. I think that's how it went. But they had a match, and it was like peak Brock Lesnar suplex city time when all he did was hit
Oh, yeah.
suplexes to the point where all his matches were boring. But the match they had with each other was great. Like Daniel Bryan had such a good match with like
Wow.
monster heel Brock Lesnar who just like threw him around, but like the way he reacted to it, and he was a heel. He made it seem like he could beat that version of Brock Lesnar, which no one could. Like it was so good. It's such a good match.
Wow. Let's see
So
now. I want
if he can do that with Kane or Brock Lesnar, what's he going to do with Daniel Garcia?
exactly. And that's why he said that he came to
Yeah,
AEW. Like, oh, it's so good.
he's rapidly going up there with like one of my favorite wrestlers ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, oh man, I don't know if he could ever surpass Macho. He he's definitely in my top three.
Yeah, I think he's at least my top five. I would say I've thought about this before. I'd say Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Macho Man. Um, probably see then I get into a tier that I get confused by. It's CM Punk, Kurt Angle, Bryan Danielson are like all in there, and I
Oh,
don't think any
okay.
I don't think any of them are Bret and Shawn and Macho Man, but they're like right behind them.
Well, that's it's a good list.
That's what I'd say.
Interesting. Mine now I have to give mine.
Yeah,
Uh Well, I'll give you my top three. 'Cause that's
Okay.
easy. That's Macho Man, Bret Hart, and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Uh it's weird. Like I always say, growing up, I didn't know the difference between good guys and bad guys, and I picked Macho Man over Hulkamania, and had no idea why I was different than everybody else.
I distinctly remember a time, like I don't know what grade I was in school, but I distinctly remember a time. I think Macho Man was a heel, like he was Macho King at the time, I think.
Oh, it's the best.
And I distinctly remember a time, I don't remember how old it was, but like a bunch of kids at school talking about being like, I think I like Macho Man. And someone else being like, yeah, I think I do too. Like, I think even though, like, I think I like him. And I think that we all kind of were like, yeah, he's actually really good. Like, it was like we don't have to just like Hulk Hogan. Like, we could like this other guy. And he's really good.
There's general consensus. If it passes on the playground, then it's good
Yeah.
to go. We're gonna move on to night two of Fight for the Fallen, which was Rampage this past
Yes.
Friday. Uh Heck of a match to open with. My
Yes.
boy, 1 in a billion, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, and Sanjay Dutt versus Best Friends, which are Orange Cassidy, Trent, and Chuck Taylor. Uh, Jay Lethal and Trent kind of set the bar. I mean, they put on a clinic. The thing was nuts.
Yeah.
I I mean, obviously they've wrestled each other a bajillion times in Ring of Honor and probably in
Right.
Japan and everywhere. But like, I would love to see like if somebody if this was the very first AEW event they watched and the first people they see is Jay Lethal and this person Trent,
Right.
and they see that, like that has to that's sucking people has to suck people in. I'd
Yeah.
love to
Best
have that
best
feeling.
best friends have this quality where like you don't think they're good. If you don't know them, you don't think they're good at wrestling. Like if you just see them
Yeah.
coming out, you're like, who are these guys? They look like they're jokes. But then they're like they're really good. They put on good matches and they do great things. And yeah. So yeah, someone who had never seen them before, I could see them being like, oh yeah, there's no way these guys are gonna win. Look at the other guys. That guy's huge.
Right.
But
Right.
like
Yeah. And well, I mean, right there, that's ratings. You're selling like, well, now, okay, I saw the guys that started, but I want to see that guy.
right.
I want to see that
Yeah.
guy. It's a giant. uh, well, you know who else wanted to see the giant? Orange Cassidy.
There you go.
I I was beyond stoked for this to happen. And I like, Sanjay Dutt, if I was there, I might jump the rail. I might have stopped this tag from happening because you took away all my dreams for Friday night at 10 o'clock. All I wanted was Orange Cassidy versus Satnam Singh. Still doesn't
So
happen.
is Sanjay Dutt? Is he? I know he's essentially retired. Is he injured or is he just not rest? Like what's going on there?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I know he wears a lot of hats backstage, so maybe it's like, oh, if you need me to go out there and get beat up, like I'll do that, but I'm not gonna pack a 3-piece suit and wrestling gear every
Right. Like
week.
I don't know if it's just I've wrestled a lot, so I don't want to wrestle, or if like
Right.
there's an injury that he can't have actual matches with.
That I don't know. Uh, but I don't know. Can't answer that one. It's a good point though, because it really didn't make sense for him to like show up in a suit.
That was funny. Like I like that.
I know, like it was cool. Like he's like, no, I got this.
Yeah.
uh when Orange Cassidy broke the pencil though, that uh it goes back
Yeah.
to him and Will Ospreay. Those guys, they get it. They get it. Um seriously, I want your opinion. What did you think of Satnam?
I mean, we said before the bar is low, and
Exactly.
that's not even an insult. Like the bar is low for anyone who's based on professional wrestling history. Guys who are like 7 feet tall
Correct.
aren't traditionally very good in the ring. But he's perfectly serviceable. Like he does more than I expect him to do, and he's entertaining.
Exactly.
He knows how to have like a presence in the ring. He knows how to like
Yeah,
project like he can entertain, he can wrestle enough that it's good. Like he's good.
yeah, and I'm very impressed with where he's at, as in like, oh, I've only been doing this for like months. Well, not months, but on TV for months,
Right.
and he hasn't been wrestling that long. Like, I don't know if that, so I
So
think,
Sanjay Dutt, I looked it up. Sorry to cut you
oh,
off.
okay. Yeah, no.
He had surgery in 2018 to fix a torn right Achilles and was out,
Ooh,
and then got released from Impact, and then was a producer at WWE, and then was a producer at AEW. So they didn't. No one ever says that's why he retired, but I feel like that has something to do with it.
yeah, that would suck. Oh, that would hurt.
So I don't know if it's like he can't wrestle because of the injury, or he'd rather not wrestle because he doesn't want to get injured again.
Yeah, and you'd think that's a lot of strain on your Achilles. Like, you're
Right.
running and jumping. Like, if it's torn once, it would, I imagine, after being surgically repaired, you would think it would be prone to tear again.
Yeah, and that
Ugh.
doesn't sound like a fun injury. So I can see him being
No,
like,
yeah, like,
I could see him being like, I just don't want that to happen again. So I'm just not gonna.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And he's great at playing the comedic heel.
Right.
Like, no, like when they broke his pencil, like, oh, it was just perfect. Then they ripped his shirt off. It was so good. Uh, Jay Lethal hits a double lethal injection. You think that's how the match is going to end, and no, it does not. Uh, what Chuck Taylor hit the big boot, and excuse me, I got ahead of myself. The best friends win, and then they get jumped by Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, and Sanjay Dutt, and of all people, Wardlow makes the save. That's where I
Right.
got ahead of myself. I almost gave that away.
Now, where do you think that's going?
I want Wardlow, Jay Lethal all day. Please
Yeah,
let that
I
program
think that's what
happen.
we're gonna get. I kind of want a Satnam Singh Wardlow match,
That would be amazing.
but like I know it's not going to be a great match, and I know it could book you into a corner because do you want Satnam Singh to lose? But like if Wardlow could powerbomb him, even just try to powerbomb him, like that would
Oh
be so
yeah,
cool.
that's well, yeah, that's like that would be like a Hogan Andre type moment.
Right.
Now, again, before the internet attacks me, I said type moment, not
Yes.
the moment.
Right.
It would just be like, I mean, that's something you put on a poster.
Right.
I just showed my age. That's something you make a GIF out of.
Or
There you go.
an NFT.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. You can sell an NFT of that. We're hip. We understand what the kids are into these days.
Yeah, like posters.
TikTok and whatnot. We're in with
Yeah,
it. We
yeah.
understand.
That's sad that I only know what those two things were because of professional wrestling, though.
So
That's the truth.
yeah, that'll be
I
fun wherever they go. Jay Lethal. I mean, it's probably Jay Lethal. It would make the most
hope
sense,
it is.
and those
I
will be
hope
good
it is.
matches. And Wardlow
But I
does
mean,
need to have like matches. He's not gonna. He's not just.
yes.
He can wrestle. He's not. He's getting a Goldberg type push, but he's not going to get the Goldberg matches where it's just squash after squash after squash. Like he needs to
Yeah.
have a wrestling
Yeah.
match, and he can get one from Jay Lethal.
Yeah, and he has to, like, I mean, he's a champion now. You got to give him something. Like, you can't just do that to Jay Lethal. I
Right.
mean, it wouldn't even that to be booked.
Right.
But I
And Jay
totally
Lethal just had a match with, Ric Flair. So if he could do a match
right.
with Ric Flair, he could do a good match with Wardlow.
Exactly. Exactly. Speaking of good matches, of all the matches on this card, hometown boy Leon Ruffin versus Ethan Page
Yes.
is what this match needed to be. This is where I'm
Yes.
going to give Leon Ruffin all the credit in the world. He sold, even though it was the hometown. Well, I mean, Ethan let him get some in, the
Right.
but he made Ethan Page look so very good.
Yeah.
in a squash match.
Right.
I thought that perfectly played. And then when Ethan looks at the camera before he hits the ego's edge, he says, "I hate this place." Oh,
Yeah.
so good, so good.
Yeah.
I
I
need
wish
more.
I want Ethan Page to do something.
Yes,
I
and
don't know what. It's hard because
wow,
with the titles we have now, I mean, he's not gonna take it off Wardlow. He's not gonna
right,
Hook has the FTW title, so he's not gonna go there. He's not gonna go for the world title, so it's hard to figure out what he's gonna do. But I want it to be something.
yeah. You could. Let's see. They could pull someone. Well, no, Scorpio's hurt. I was gonna
Yeah.
say they could get into the trios tournament with someone from American Top Team, but
Right.
oh well. And I'm not saying this in like a bad way towards Scorpio Sky, but maybe it's actually a good thing because now they have to put Ethan Page on TV every week to keep the American Top Team angle alive.
Right. That's true.
So maybe the injury is gonna kind of help Ethan out. Like I don't want to say he's taking his place. He's not taking his place, but for now he's taking his place. I mean, Ethan's the man in that storyline
Right.
right now. Moving right along, Lee Moriarty versus Matt Sydal, student versus teacher. Uh, Lee Moriarty has the best headbutt I think I've ever seen. I
Yeah.
legit wrote that in my notes. It looked so good.
Yeah.
Uh, again, these guys, well, they knew they had the story, so they had to beat the hell out of each other, and they did. uh, it was a hard hitter and more of a technical match than I really expected.
Yes, I agree.
Especially with Matt Sydal. Like Matt Sydal can't even do a drop kick without doing a backflip. But
Yeah, and JR kind of pointed that out on commentary that like I guess as he's getting not he didn't say this, but as he's getting older, he's adapting more to a technical type style. JR mentioned his like
and
evolution into a technical style, and it makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
can only do so many flips at whatever age he's at.
Right. Unless you're Johnny Elite.
Right.
I had to think because I was like, where's he at now?
Yeah.
um, Stokely Hathaway comes down.
Yes.
Uh, this is now all of a sudden interesting mystery that's going on in AEW right now.
Yeah. Like
and I'm
what is Stokely doing?
exactly. What do you think he's doing? What's your opinion?
I think he's starting his own little thing, and I think it's gonna end up him getting booted from Jade because Jade's gonna get annoyed that he's spending time with recruiting other wrestlers.
That makes sense, but that really puts Jade over as a baby face.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's where Jade's heading. I think she's heading as
that's true. Because the
she's
crowd does cheer
popular.
her.
The
Yeah.
crowd loves her. I mean, they keep mentioning her daughter and everything about how hard she worked, and I can see her turning face.
Yeah, that actually does make sense. Huh. Well, that'd be perfect because Stokely is putting together a little bit of a heel group, it looks like.
Yes, he's handing out cards. Cards were accepted.
Cards were accepted, yes. So we're gonna put a question mark. We don't know if they're together yet, but it looks like
Right.
something's something's brewing, which I'm happy for Lee Moriarty. He deserved that.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, good win. I'm sorry, I forgot to say he won. He won the match. Stokely interfered a little bit, but I mean, I didn't really see what happened. I turned my head real quick, missed it. No, but uh, yeah,
Did Stokely hire you?
I no, I didn't see any. I didn't see any money. Trust me. uh, I thought it works really well. I like it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just can't wait to see where it goes because I'm enjoying this. Like I said, it's now the most interesting little mystery in the company,
Yes.
and they're just letting it. They're being cold. I don't like that.
Yes.
They're not letting anything leak. Hey, did you know that Claudio could cut 2 promos in a row?
I don't think he's ever been allowed to cut 2 promos in a row,
Exactly.
but he can do it.
He did. And boy, this one might have been stronger than the first one.
Yes, I
And
think it
okay,
was.
this is where I'm gonna fight Twitter here. Uh Claudio, after he talks about like the legacy of the Ring of Honor title and how you're considered the best pro wrestler in the world, blah blah blah, he gives his spiel, calls down Wheeler Yuta, and this is where I'm gonna destroy people on the internet who were Twitter who were saying, "Who's that? Why do I care about him?" Blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
that's weird. I didn't see any of
Yeah.
that, but that's weird.
Oh, you didn't see any of that. Oh, there was
No,
so much Wheeler Yuta hate.
I've
Ah,
I've tried to avoid Twitter for their hot takes like that.
oh, it was bad. Uh like, well, obviously you don't watch the program because
Right.
if you did, you'd see the biggest buildup of a person in like the last maybe 11 months.
And that's weird because if you don't watch AEW, why are you watching this episode of Rampage? Like randomly, like Rampage is not the most accessible of AEW shows. It's the top.
Exactly.
So why are you watching this when you know, I mean I looked at the ratings for Rampage. They were not great. Like
Right.
people weren't watching this episode of Rampage. So why on a
Yes.
Friday night in the summer do you decide this is the first time I'm going to watch AEW?
Right. And
So
then you're gonna go.
it seems
Go
like
ahead.
they know who he is. They're just being jerks about it.
It's internet clout probably.
Right.
Ah, but it's like if it made me sit down and think about it, like this has been like the perfect buildup of somebody who literally started on like Elevation and Dark, and
Right.
unless you watched that show, you had no clue who this person would have been.
And he
And
can cut promos now too, apparently.
yes, if uh if QT is like if he is running the factory the way that he's running the factory, and Captain Sean Dean is scouting like he's been scouting, AEW is in very good hands for their, I don't know if you want to call it performance center or whatever
They're like
their,
the future training. Yes.
yeah, the future training, like it's in very good hands because Wheeler
Yes.
is, I mean they didn't make Wheeler Yuta, but they found him, invited him in. He was good, got better. Now look at him. He's gonna, I think, well, he challenges Jericho. We'll just go on with the storyline. Then I'll tell you what I think.
And the promo was so good. Like I didn't think he could cut promos. Again, another guy who I
Yes,
didn't think could cut promos, but it was good.
yeah, and I mean he beat Jericho at his own game, which
Right.
was awesome.
Yes.
You know, it basically out talked Jericho to basically say, "I'm challenging you. You got to put your title shot on the line." And this is, I have theory on this.
All right.
uh, and we're going to do it next week.
Right.
Uh, and, and he painted him into a corner, and obviously he had to accept. This is where Eddie gets his revenge.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I can
Eddie
see
is
that.
gonna,
He cost Jericho the match, then you get another Eddie Jericho match out of it.
yes, and
All
it'll
right, yeah.
be, yeah. Eddie is gonna, because Eddie, it has Eddie Kingston written all over
Right.
it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
Like,
sense.
yeah, and then you set up something for, we're right in the wheelhouse now. They could each cut a promo maybe next week or the week after, and then you could set something up like, okay, Arthur Ashe Stadium,
Right.
you name your match, blah blah blah, 20,000. Because I was looking today, I sent you uh that text. It's about 75% sold,
Yeah,
and that's all 20,000. Like,
like it will sell out.
oh yes, it'll definitely sell, definitely.
Speaking of which, we haven't even mentioned AEW Toronto.
I know. I was gonna get there. Uh, well, anyways, we'll end with uh we'll go to AEW Toronto next.
All right, sounds good.
But Wheeler Yuta and Jericho uh, for his title shot this week. That ended that.
Yes.
Now we did find out this past week that uh, AEW is coming to Canada for two separate nights.
Yeah, it's a
They're
little
doing,
confusing.
yeah,
I was a little
uh,
surprised by the venue choice because I mean we last week we talked about like could they sell 40,000 tickets? Like they're going to like a 7,000 seat arena.
okay,
So I was slightly surprised. I mean that's what they usually do when they go to most cities is they hit
yeah.
arenas about that size. I was surprised that their first show in Canada is gonna because I mean I think it'll sell out in like 5 minutes.
No,
I feel like that's
yeah,
gonna sell it
definitely
almost
will,
immediately.
definitely.
And I get that they did it because I think they have no other choice for where to have this show. So it kind of
Well,
makes
that's
sense to put it there,
yeah,
but it's going to sell out immediately. I find it weird that they're doing Rampage separately, first of all, and
yeah,
that they're doing it on Thursday.
yeah. I mean, unless there like maybe like an AHL game, like
Yeah, maybe
that's
they're using the arena for something. It's maybe
yeah.
or they don't want to start it at 10 o'clock. I don't know.
Oh, well, that could be too. Because that's mid-October, so you'd be right in that could be like an opening night
Right, that's
for
true.
like
That's true.
yeah, uh, if
It
especially on a Friday night,
I feel
like
like the reason they're doing it is that they wanted to sell. They know they're going to sell more tickets. They wanted to go to Scotiabank
oh,
Arena probably,
absolutely,
and
absolutely,
so they're doing this so they can sell 7,000 tickets twice, essentially. So
exactly,
they could basically sell 14,000 tickets.
10,000 tickets, right?
Um, but
Absolutely,
but it'll be weird to have Rampage as its own because usually when they do Rampage live, it's when they have Battle of the Belts
yeah,
and they do Battle of the Belts along with Rampage, so you get a 2 hour show. It'll be
right.
interesting to see what they do for just Rampage. I guess they're not gonna just do an hour.
No, I bet you they'll do like a special elevation or uh, maybe do like two rampages,
Right,
you know, because then they could stack. They
right.
could be like a week ahead. I don't know though.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna go? I
Yeah,
know
I
you
hope.
were.
Yeah, I want to. We'll see what happens. I feel like it's gonna sell
Yeah.
out immediately, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, you got to keep us posted.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna have to eat my words on the next segment. Last week I said the rap battle was the most entertaining, was the dumbest, most entertaining thing I've ever seen. Okay. Well, the rap video this week was the stupidest, most entertaining thing I've ever seen.
it was so yeah, it was like stupid great, but it was great.
Yes, it
it
was. Yes, it was.
had the guy. It had like the guy in the Billy Gunn outfit, like doing DX. Like it was great.
Oh, yeah. Uh, and you brought up a good point. It did. We got a little dumpster match coming, and you have
Yes,
a
and this
theory,
this is my out there theory. Um,
and it's a good one though.
I think if anyone's been following the internet, they heard Road Dogg, who doesn't have a job right now, talking about how he even mentioned, I keep trying to get in touch with AEW, and they won't. Tony Khan won't talk to me. No one's going to hire me. I feel like he's hired, and he's saying that to throw people off. And
Yeah.
I think he's gonna show up and help Billy because the dumpster match is what made the New Age Outlaws, who
Yes.
they had a big match with Terry Funk and Mick Foley, um,
Yes.
and that's what this is a throwback to. So
Yes.
I feel like Road Dogg could show up, even though his buddy Triple H is running things in WWE. I feel like maybe he got signed before that happened, and now
Yeah, and they've been
maybe
like,
it's a one off. Maybe he signed for like just this night, like maybe it's just for one show to show up. But I feel like it might happen.
and I have a very, I agree with you a lot. Very, after you mentioned it, like that almost has to happen now.
I think it would be really cool. Like obviously they're not going to wrestle, but like
Right.
it would just be like a cool little moment.
Right. And I wonder if now that, just say he's signed, I'm just going to throw this out there. I wonder if Road Dogg and Billy text Triple H and be like, "Hey, can we call ourselves the New Age Outlaws just once over here?"
Right.
And even if it's just for Jim Ross to say, "Oh my God, that's Road Dogg from the New Age Outlaws,"
And
like,
then never mention it again. Yeah.
yeah, like just that one time. Like, don't reform the tag team. Don't like, you know,
Right. Like we're
anything
not.
like.
Yeah. You guys still own the trademarks. Like we're not going to sell merchandise. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just that one time. Like, they're not trying to be like how the Hardys are now the Hardys, not the Hardy Boys. But
Right.
that makes sense. That's a merchandising thing. That's a trademark thing. Like, yeah, just let them say it one time and I'd be so happy.
And I feel like Triple H he might be fine with that.
Especially because who it is,
I've had, like they're his buddies. If they're not taking money from WWE, I feel like he still has to. He still has shareholders that he's not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm letting them use their name even though they didn't give us anything. Like he's not going to do that. But I could see him
Right.
letting him, like even like a quiet agreement. Like they say it once and then they pretend it was an accident and never say it again.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly.
And like we're not going to get mad. We're just going to forget. Like we're all just going to pretend this was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, that'd be. Well, we'll see this week.
We will see.
Well, we are going to end the uh the show. Great main event, and we're going to put an end to the youth movement here. Anna Jay versus Ruby Soho. I definitely saw this match going the other way, but
Yeah.
boy, was it good.
Yeah.
That's why I
Good
say we're going
match. Yeah.
to. Ruby, she got a little bit of hate because people think she needs to do more, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But Anna Jay has only been wrestling for 2 years.
Yes.
How good is freaking Anna Jay already? Like,
Yeah, she's really
yes,
good.
yeah, she has her little hiccups here and there, but she's now, when she has one, she knows how to get through it. She
Right.
knows you don't stop, you just keep going. And there wasn't any in this match, by any means. I'm just like,
In general,
she's
yeah,
come
I've
so
seen.
far, right?
Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna
Uh,
be. I don't even know how old she is, but she's gonna be a big deal.
yeah, I think she's like 22,
She's pretty
23.
young. Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty young. Uh, these two had a very good match. They worked really well together, and I was surprised because she works very fast. Well, she works in indie style. Now, Anna
Right.
Jay would have worked that had she stayed in the indies longer.
Right.
But she's only 2 years into a company that's 3 years old.
Right.
So everything she has done, she had very little indie time.
Right.
Uh, so like she's a little slower, but sh they worked really well. Anna
Yeah.
Jay gets the win, and it's such a good heel win.
It was a good heel win with the
With the arm
armband.
brace.
Yeah, the
Oh,
arm
I
brace. Yeah.
loved it. It was so good. And I think that was also Ruby. Like, Ruby might have volunteered for this one. I'm just,
Yeah.
I could see her doing that for her,
Yeah.
because that
I
just
feel
put
like
Anna
Anna
Jay
Jay.
on a,
From what I've seen from the backstage interactions, I feel like everyone likes Anna Jay,
yeah.
so I could see them doing that for her for sure.
Well, beating Ruby Soho for Anna Jay, I'll say it right now. If you want to disagree with me, you can disagree with me. You can fight me. I don't care. It's the same as Garcia getting the win over Danielson.
Yeah, because
Like,
Ruby Soho,
a
I mean,
known,
she's not a
yes,
former champion or anything, but she's still a known
she's a
long
very
term.
known,
Yeah.
yes, and in AEW, like, she is probably the, yeah, she definitely is. She's probably the veteran. She's probably worked longer than anybody else. Well, maybe not Serena Deeb.
Not Serena Deeb, but everyone else.
And
Yeah.
yeah, okay. But yeah, okay, so she's the second longest tenured person there. So, and everybody knows who Ruby Soho is.
Right. Ruby
You
Soho
know,
is also kind of like we mentioned with Darby. Like she can lose and still be over. Like it doesn't really matter.
yeah, yeah, she has a name, and yeah, oh, yeah.
It does way more for Anna Jay to win that match
Then
than for Ruby, and
exactly,
it doesn't hurt Ruby Soho really.
right. And it wouldn't have helped Ruby if she won it, to be honest.
Right. Right.
Like, but I was a surprise, and I'm
Yes.
happy that we got thrown a curveball.
Yeah.
Uh, and that rounded out the week. Uh, I did do my homework this week, unlike last week, and I had to come up with a rant on the fly. So
Yes. All
I'm
right.
ready if you're
You,
ready.
you can go first.
Okay. And this is I'm going to talk about WWE. This is this has nothing to do with my rant, but this
All
is
right.
just a warning.
All right.
It's not going to be in a negative light. It's just
All
an
right.
opinion. Now that management has changed, the
Right.
Triple H is in charge. Is in charge. I got to say it. Legends contracts, they either have to stop existing or they have to be open ended so these guys can go other places and make money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, yes, you pay them, and but they can make more than that in this day and age.
Right. And you can pay them to like show up for WWE events and you can sell their merchandise
Exactly.
on your but like yeah, they can do other stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like if they want to, if you want to sign a Legends contract and they're going to take care of your merch and everything, yeah, let them, that's fine. Like, but let them, like, I honestly, I was surprised when that uh um photo leaked of well, it didn't leak. It just got posted on the internet of it Flair's last match. It was Foley, Undertaker, and oh, there was
Bret Hart.
another oh, and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
I'm
I was
surprised
yeah, I was surprised at that.
that Undertaker and oh well, all three of them. I was going to say that Foley didn't have a Legends contract, but he just signed another one.
Yeah.
But all three of them have that Legends contract. I'm surprised they were allowed to be there, and that's a
Especially because
shame.
that was a very like NWA AEW like there was lots of AEW people on that show. There was like
Yeah,
yeah, it was surprising. I know it wasn't a big show, like it wasn't an AEW show,
right.
but still.
But yeah, Triple H, I know you're listening, but yeah, free these guys up, and it's not like an AEW thing. Like I don't want them so like if they could, like yes, let them come. It's like I'm not saying
They
they
could
all
even
have
do
to.
what I think they've done with some other they have some contracts like this where like you're not allowed to be on another show that has like you can't be on like a national television show.
Oh, okay.
So I think they allow some of them to do things that aren't on like national TV. They could be like on a pay-per-view or an indie match or but they can't do
Oh, that make
AEW
okay.
basically.
That makes sense.
I
But
think
yeah,
that's the
see,
case with
like that.
some people. Like Foley's done things in like GCW and thing. I think he may have an agreement like that.
Oh, okay.
But as
But
far
see
as I can
that
tell, someone like Brett, I don't think can do really anything.
right, and and that's somebody that should be getting paid for his name. Like he should be able to have a pro wrestling tee shop open, and
Right.
like you should be able to go there and buy. Like you could buy some stuff,
You can buy
but
some stuff. He does have some merchandise, but yeah.
yeah, but there should be more than like the three T-shirts that he has in there. Like Hitman should have
Right.
like 8,000 T-shirts in there,
Right.
or WWE should print 8,000. I mean, they're a machine. Like
Right.
why he doesn't have 8,000 T-shirts, literally,
It seems a
is
little
beyond
weird that their Legends program like they don't use them. Like they have all these
me.
guys signed, and I get not putting them on TV. Maybe they don't want them on TV, but like, yeah, why aren't they selling just a million shirts? Like, I
Right.
never get why WWE. I don't think AEW does this from what I've seen, but why WWE stops selling shirts? Like when someone has a shirt and they get a
Oh
new
yeah,
shirt,
then just like
why do they
yeah,
stop selling the old? I know that they want to make it like so you buy them when they come out, you don't wait, but like they could sell every shirt. Like every shirt Stone
yeah,
Cold Steve Austin's ever had, why are they not
yeah,
selling them all? Like every single
right,
one. Like go
right,
for it. Like
right. Yeah, like pro wrestling tees exists. Like just steal their business model.
right. Like
Like you
I
just buy thousands of blank shirts and have the prints made, and then you just make them to order. You don't
well
have
I know
stock.
WWE has I saw recently their shop has been it's Fanatics now. The brand
Oh
controls their
god.
stuff. And I know that I they're not great. But I looked it up just out of curiosity. I noticed I went to Shop W just on my own just to see who they're promoting like on their store, and I noticed like John Cena and Roman are on there. They only have like 3 or 4 shirts, and I was like, that's weird. Why does John Cena only have 3 shirts? He's John Cena,
Right.
And then the next day they were like, oh yeah, Fanatics took over, and like, oh, so maybe they cleared off all the old merchandise and they're producing new merchandise. But so out of curiosity, I went to Pro Wrestling Tees, and Cody Rhodes still has stuff on there. Like you could still buy Cody t-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. And
Ooh,
there's a lot of them. There's 2
of
pages worth.
course,
Like
of
there's a whole
course.
ton of them. And then I went to shop WWE shop, and there's 2. Like why does he not have every shirt on? Like why are they
Right,
not selling just everything? It's weird. The way they use their merchandising is a little weird, considering they're really big into branding and all that. Like,
right,
and to tie it with the Legends contract, like why are they not selling a million Bret Hart shirts, a million
right.
Mick Foley shirts, Steve Austin shirts? Why? Yeah, it's weird.
And that's like you lock those guys up and lock them into like I understand like they probably see and I understand they get paid well and they probably see is like, oh well yeah, I'll get like a weekly paycheck for the rest of my life. Like I don't
And I
know if
don't
you're
really
on
do anything. Yeah,
yeah, but you're not allowed to do nothing.
right.
Like I mean like get your name out there. Like open a
Yeah,
pro wrestling tee shop, get on an indie show. But no, WWE has to lock everything away. It's like and own it. I just
I
that
can
stuff's
see.
got to
I
go.
actually feel that like, that's something that Triple H. Like, I don't think that the show is going to be drastically different. Though maybe it is. I didn't see Raw, but I feel like that's something Triple H might be, because he was a wrestler. He might feel differently.
That's what I was just gonna. Yeah,
He might feel differently about that than like Vince McMahon did.
yeah, he would totally get that. Or if like again, I don't understand why any indie wrestler would go there, but you know, uh, I'm myself. I'm Josh Blasco for 10 years on the Indies. I get signed by WWE. All of a sudden, I'm uh, the Baron of the House of Blue.
Right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and like, okay, well, when you fire me in 2 months because nobody knows who I am, I
Right.
want to be able to go back and open my pro wrestling tee store and do all that again. But that all falls under that stupid 90-day stuff. Like,
Right.
at least let the people get a footprint. Like, I can't change my name. That's who I was. People know me as that anyway. I
Yeah. I
won't
feel like
work for
if
90 days, but
if they want to own you, I feel like they could give you a new nickname if you're like the Crusher Blasco, and then they change your nickname to whatever. But like it's still you. You just have a new
right,
nickname now, and they own that nickname. They own like whatever the killer or whatever name they're going to
right,
give you. Right. I
right,
could see that, but like they might own Stone Cold Steve Austin, but not Steve
right.
Austin.
Steve or Seth freaking Rollins. I bet
Right.
you they own it. I guaranteed they own it.
Yes, that's why they mention it all the time.
Well, I was gonna say, like when they called him that the first time, if he would have threw the patent on it, they would have just kept calling him Seth Rollins.
Right.
All right, well that's my rant for the week.
All
So
right.
let's hear
Good one.
yours.
It's it's
Oh,
a
good.
it's something I feel like they could change. You're right. Okay, here's my rants, and I alluded to it a little bit. They need to have more than one women's match on Dynamite,
I concur.
because they have, and it's always at 9:20, which
See,
is
I didn't even
weird.
realize that. That is very
But like
weird
it's always like this, and I think they do it because it's the
because it's a
spot right.
semi-main event.
It's
Like,
right before the main event, but like
yeah,
they should do it at other times. It's a little,
yeah,
it's too predictable out now.
predictable.
Like
Yeah,
they're obviously doing it on purpose, and they need to have something different. They need to have a match open the show. Sometimes they've had the main event the shows, which is good,
mm,
but they need to have a match open the show. They need to have a match that's the third match on the show. They need to mix it up a little bit, because the women's division is good and it needs more, and they need to have a match on that opens the show, and then have another women's match at 9:20 if you want, just so that you have two. Like they should be like, I feel like they're doing a
yeah.
lot of women's tag teams now because they want to put them on TV, but they don't want to have more than one match. Have more than one match. Like, go ahead. I know you have a big roster, and I know that will mean that some other guys don't. Always the case. Like AEW has a huge roster. Not everyone's on every week.
Right, right.
And they could have two women's matches, and I think that would fix the other problem I have with the women's division, which is with the women. A lot of them now are like accessories or valets, sort of, for the men. Like Sky Blue was out with with Dante, or Ty Conte
Oh,
and Sammy, or even Ruby and Eddie. Like she's Eddie's girl. Like I think they're doing this because they want to get the women on TV, so they're putting them on. But like they don't need to be standing beside a guy to get on TV. Like they can wrestle.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
give them more
just
matches. Have two, have three. Like do a lot of women's matches
yeah.
whenever you feel like there should be a women's match. That's my
I,
that's my rant, because they're good. I mean, they're getting
yeah,
better. And before, you could say a lot of them had no TV experience, but first of all, now those women do, and they have people like Ruby Soho and Athena and Tony Storm, and who've been on national TV a lot. So they don't really have an excuse to not have them on more often.
I 100% agree with you. I would like to see, and I brought it up on the podcast before. I would like to see them do like how Ring of Honor used to do Women of Honor, and it would
Yeah,
just be they would just pick one of their random all women straight through the card. Like
right.
I'd love to see like an all women Dynamite or an all women Rampage. Rampage would probably make more sense. I don't know if the roster is actually big enough to fill two
Right.
hours.
Yeah. But I mean,
Um,
they've had a lot of good wins matches. I'm not saying they're not giving
oh
them
yeah, for
time to have
sure.
good matches. There's been a lot, but it's just there's always only one. And it's obvious, it's obviously on purpose now, because it's always one and it's always in that same spot on the show. So they've clearly designated that like the women's match time. And I think that the roster is good enough now that they could have more than one.
And
And more than one
it
consistently. They could have two, they could have three, they could, I mean, if one night they had none, fine. But the week before they should have three, right? They should mix it up a little bit.
well, I see what you're saying totally, and I agree with you. But I'm just thinking there's tons of women's matches on Elevation and Dark,
Right.
and well, I was just thinking that breaks up the like that breaks up the monotony of the other shows. If you start with that, like those shows have different energy. They have like a low energy.
Right.
It's they just do. People are still getting to their seats, this, that, and the other, but you're also seeing something like special. Like you're seeing those before it happens. So
Right.
it
That's
is
true.
kind of it is kind of like part of maybe like an AEW tradition, but I
Yeah.
mean tradition can change. But
Right.
when
And I
you're
think
there
that
with women's, it's like 50-50.
I think that worked out the way it did because they didn't used to have a lot of experienced women on the roster. I mean, when
True.
AEW started, it was a lot of Anna Jays, even Britt Baker, who like they weren't on TV before, really. They, as far as
Right.
I know, they none of them did anything on
No.
television. But I
Nope.
mean, now
Exactly.
now you have, first of all, like I said, people who have hired, who've been from like from WWE or wherever, who've been on TV, but also people like Thunder Rosa and Sheeta, who like maybe didn't have that much TV experience before, but now they do. So why are they not, like, where is Sheeta? I know maybe she's injured, but like she could be
No,
on TV.
she just had a match on Elevation tonight.
Yeah, so they could. I mean, put one on Dynamite, even if it's 10 minutes. Just
Right.
throw on
Yeah.
throw on a match. It doesn't have to be every week. You don't have to have two or three every week, but the fact that it's only one at the same time every single week, like, it's on
That's
purpose.
yeah, that's weird.
And
That
I
is
don't know
like
their reasoning behind that. Maybe they have some sort of demographic numbers or something that shows something, but or the network wants it on then, or I don't know. But I feel like they should have
well,
more than one.
I mean like I said before, that is semi-main event, so you are giving the women like kind of their own main event,
Right.
but it does look a little suspect
Yeah.
when it's 9:20 and I mean, if it like obviously like you paid attention. I never paid attention to that, but
Yeah.
that's yeah, that's almost like you know what's going to happen when they say, "Well, we just got the words to stay with it till it ends."
Right. It's
Yeah,
gonna
then you
end
know
promptly
the show's going to
promptly
end
at
promptly. Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So yeah, I just
It's
feel like
nice.
it's not even a knock at the women's, like, it's not a knock at the women's division. I mean, they're all good. I
Correct.
mean, it's if anything, it's a knock at the fact that they don't get more time, and they don't even have to have epic matches. Like when they had the Ethan Page match on Rampage this week, it wasn't long,
Right,
but
right.
it served its purpose. Have that. Like if that was their
Yeah,
second match sometimes, or go ahead. Like if they want to have Britt Baker face someone, that's fine. Like it doesn't have to be. They don't all have to be 20-minute epic matches, but they could use them more, and I think that would solve the problem where they all every woman seems to be associated with a man. Not every woman, but a lot of them,
yeah.
and I don't think they necessarily need to be. I have no
Yeah.
problem with them being somewhat associated. Like I like the Britt Baker Adam Cole association. Everyone knows they're a
Oh
couple.
yeah, yeah,
They're sometimes together on TV. They do something, but they're not. They also have their own stuff going on.
yeah.
So
It's
that works. Like that works fine. If it was
yeah,
more like Sammy and Ty, it makes sense that they're like an obnoxious couple. But Ty Conti should also sometimes do her own stuff.
yeah. Like they should do more of what the best friends do with Statlander. Like
Right.
she's a member of the group, but they might not be together for weeks and be on the same show.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like they could do more with the women's division.
I
And
agree.
maybe from what I've heard, Kenny Omega is responsible for the women's division, so maybe he's not there. So maybe that's why it's kind of
That's true.
in a holding pattern. I don't know, but I would like to see more.
And I agree. And I think we will. I mean, I mean, hopefully, uh, WWE turns it around, and we're gonna get all the best wrestling that we could imagine.
Yeah, when we were like, I mean, we heard recently, Sasha and Naomi are going back, and that's
Yeah,
obviously as someone who likes AEW, I wanted to see them in AEW,
yeah, I agree.
but it's good for the wrestlers. I mean,
Yeah,
the last year, 2 years, AEW has been the place where everyone wants to go. Anyone,
hmm
almost every wrestler who has any experience or anything, like they've been the place. People have left WWE. Very few have left AEW other than Cody, like as big names.
yeah,
So AEW, it was kind of lopsided in AEW's favor. So it's kind of nice to have competition, as much as it would have been cool to see Sasha Banks in AEW. Like it's kind of nice that they have. If Vince or if WWE doesn't like you, you don't have to go to AEW. Maybe you can work it out with
yeah,
WWE. Like maybe
yeah.
it's better for the wrestlers if there's,
A
and
hundred
hopefully
percent.
it means the TV shows get better, because I mean WWE's women's division is better than AEW's. Not
Oh, it definitely is. Definitely is.
like talent wise, somewhat, but presentation wise, yes, like it's significantly better. And I think
Yes,
that's a Triple H Stephanie McMahon thing. And I feel like if that gets pushed more because of them being in charge now, AEW will have to respond. I mean, there's an audience who wants to see women's matches. WWE clearly has all the
hundred
same
percent.
demographic stuff that AEW does, if not much, much more. So they know what people want to see. And if they clearly had determined that people want to see women's wrestling, so they're going to show more of it, and AEW will need to respond.
And I think they will. I mean,
Yeah, I
Tony
mean
Khan's
Tony
got it.
Khan. No, obviously he knows the internet. He's on the internet. He's on there all the time, from what I
Right.
can tell.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he hears what people are saying. He knows that people want more women's matches. I don't know if it could be a network thing. I don't know. Maybe they don't want that. I don't know.
Yeah. I have no idea. There has to be a reason, I guess.
Because especially if they have lots of women's matches on, Dark and Elevation, Tony knows that they can wrestle,
Yeah.
and is willing to put them on. So why are they not on Dynamite? Even on Rampage, we'll
Yeah.
have more women's matches. Is it a Dynamite thing?
Hmm. That's interesting. Yeah. Just tonight, I think there were 7 matches, and I think 3 of them matches.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Because I mean, AEW has, before it was. This is taking a long time now, but
That's all right.
before it was basically Britt Baker and whoever was
Yeah.
feuding with Britt Baker. Like that was their women's division.
Yes.
And then they had Jade, and Jade was their second star of the women's
Yeah.
division. But now they have, Ruby and Tony and Thunder Rosa and Sheeta and the tons of people. They
Yeah.
could easily put
There's.
on several matches a night.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully they do.
I think they will. I really do. I really do. Um, yeah, I really do. And like it's like you said, if they're spinning tires because of Kenny, well, we know that Kenny is close to being. He's closer to coming back than he's not.
Right.
They haven't mentioned anything concrete, but I could see him being back sooner rather than later.
And speaking of the WWE competition and things heating up, I mean, Kenny's going to be back. Adam Cole's back this week, and
Yeah,
Undisputed Elite. Punk will be back at some point. Danielson's
yeah,
back. Like they're
yeah,
getting people back. So these
yeah.
upcoming shows are going to be good.
Insane, insane. Well, do you have anything else to say, sir? We've been rambling for 2 hours.
Yeah. No, I think I'm good. It was a long one,
Good.
but it was a good one, I think.
Yeah, that was great show. Great show. Well, on that note, we will say thank you as always. Again, I know I say this all the time, but we are getting more and more listeners. We've picked up a couple more new subscribers on Apple. So,
Rate us,
thank
rate us, rate our
yes,
podcast.
please rate, review, anything you can
Yes.
do. Subscribe. Uh, it helps. And
Yes.
we're on Twitter at Elite City Pod, and I swear to you, I will log on to that one day. I'm so not good at that. Uh, and we tend to post every Monday morning. Not Monday morning. I'm sorry. Every Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually
Tuesday
late
morning, not
Monday
Monday.
night, early Tuesday morning it'll come up. So
Yeah. Uh, and we've stuck to that schedule, so I guess that's pretty much our schedule. Um,
there you go.
so yes, but everybody, thank you again. It means the world. And that was the week that was AEW. So until next time, later.